Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Gonna spend some time with me today. I'm still muddling my way through pork. So right now in the house I've got more lard going. I feel like right now I make lard about every day. But I've got another batch of lard going. I've got making what I call barbecue pulled pork. I make quite a bit of that to put up. And I'm also gonna get my bacon in the smoker. Now we have a full start to finish video of making bacon. If you want to see it, I'll link it to this video. But this bacon here has set for 9 days. So usually 10 days is what I let it set, but I've got time to do it today, so it's getting done today. If you're gonna make bacon the way we make it though, I would not let it set longer than 2 weeks. Ask me how I know. It gets way too salty. But this is what our bacon looks like after 9 days. You can see the juices and everything. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to scrape some of this excess off of here. You don't want to leave that on there. It'll make it way too salty. So you want to go ahead and get that off. And I'll do that to both pieces. And it's actually warmed up a little bit out here, so I'm just going to spray it off with a water hose. A lot of times if it's really cold, I'll rinse it off in my sink. But I think I can stand to wash it off with a water hose today. And I'll just get it the best I can. I mean, it ain't got to be perfect. I guess if I make it today, we'll slice it, what, a couple days?
Yeah, you want to let it chill out before you go back and slice it.
Because it'll be hot when I pull it out that smoker. Alright, there's that piece.
Makes life a lot easier if you let it chill out.
Yes, not as jiggly. Yep, and this one right here is going to be the same way.
Look at all that sugar piled up on there.
Yep, and melted all around it. And
yeah, so during our last video when I was talking about why I wanted to wrap them in paper, that's why I wanted to hold it inside of all of that juiciness.
Let it marinate.
Yeah, let it marinate.
But I have tried, we've made bacon for many years, and me and Andy experimented. Wet brines, dry brines, different lengths of time, leaving the mixture on there, or leaving it like this and not washing it off. I mean, we've done it several ways, and the way that we do it now, this is the way we found that we personally like it. So,
and need to mention that all ways were good.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Leaving that on there.
That was the worst.
It was too salty.
Yeah, we cooked it one time, or not cooked it, but smoked it one time with all of that on.
It was too brine. I mean, it was
way too salty.
So, now, I am going to...
And liquid brines work good. It's just...
I did it that way in the fridge instead of laying it in that building when I did it that way.
Doing it in that building just works best for us because it's out of our way.
Yeah. And I know when I did it the way that I found to do it with the liquid brine, I was having to like move it every day. Like twist it around and stuff. And I did it with maple syrup, I believe. If I remember right, it's been several years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that maple syrup wanted to caramelize really quickly in the pan, and it would make your bacon burn before it was ever cooked. That was one thing I noticed, but that was probably just the recipe I used. Okay, now I got to rinse this stuff. So I've got all this rinsed off. Me and Andy have tried it so many ways. But if you want to see the full bacon video, like I said, there'll be a link. But there's you a sneak peek.
Ain't that pretty?
That bacon will look like once we get it sliced and smoked. Now the way we smoke it is a hot smoke in my What kind of smokers is Pit Boss? I used to have a Master. I was about to say Masterbuilt, but that was the old one that finally died. But I'll let it smoke in there at least 4 hours. It's gonna get to 160, I think. But it's a hot smoke, so this smoking is actually just for flavor. It's not to cure it. And this is the only thing that we smoke, so we've never took the time or put in the effort to build a smokehouse, because everything else I just cook in here. So we don't really see a need for one. It serves the purpose. It does just fine. I'll keep the temperature around 200 once it gets that far, 150 to 200. So I'll keep a close eye on it. But yeah, busy time of year.
Hey, you want to tell them?
In pork.
You want to tell them what else is happening today?
So we have some workers down at our flat spot down there. They're come to dig the holes for the footers for the new hay barn.
Yep, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. We've needed it for a very long time. I gotta get this lard put up that I just made last night to make room for what I'm making right now to cool. I'm telling y'all, 'tis the time of year that my house always seems to smell like lard cooking. Not a bad smell, they right. Actually smells pretty good up there right now. I'm about done for the year though. That's a little bit of lard, ain't it? So I have got a piece of a shoulder in my roasting pan. Ooh, fogged up my camera. I don't know how much y'all can see down in there. That's how I make my pulled pork. Fixing to start cutting up another piece of the same shoulder. This is just another part we cut off of it for canned pork. And I've got some lard that's pretty much all but done. So I'll be putting it in some jars too. My pulled pork, I will let that cook on about 300 degrees in my roasting pan. I just season it with some salt and pepper, onion and garlic powder. I put a little paprika on it this time. And I just let that go. It pretty much cooks all day. I put a little apple cider vinegar in the bottom of my pan to kind of, the vinegar kind of helps the meat tenderize a little bit. But I know it's done when it easily pulls away from the bone. So that's how I test it. So I can't say, let that cook for 6 hours. It all depends on the size. And every year our pigs are different sizes. So that's how I know it's done, is when it pulls away from the bone easily. I'm going to let this lard go just a shade longer. It's about done. I got a couple of cracklings in there that could go just a little bit longer. So I'm going to at least get a couple jars full. Then we'll get that in some jars. Now, canned pork is one of our favorite things to eat here. So my favorite thing to do with canned pork is tacos. Canned meat is so easy to do. The way I do it, I'll fill my jar up, put a little salt on top, and it's going to make its own broth. Now, it may not cover the meat completely, but I do not put water in my meat. You're going to water down your delicious broth that it's going to make for you. Now, all this fat that comes with shoulder meat, I'm not going to put all that in there. It's going to have enough fat in it as it is. I used to always do my canned pork in pints, but here lately I find myself cooking 2 pints since the kids are growing up. And so now, quarts it is. And now when I'm canning meat too, I'm not scared to kind of pack that meat in there loosely. I mean, you're not going to mash it like you're mashing kraut or something. But it's okay to push it down in there and get as much as you can in a jar. Another beautiful thing about canned meat is this is less meat that's going to take up my freezer space. It is already cooked, so after this time-consuming part, which is actually not that bad after you get used to doing it, I can have supper thrown together in 15 minutes. And also, if the power goes out, it doesn't matter. It's okay. This is meat that I won't have to worry about losing. There we go. So that's perfect. Now, I need to go ahead and get this lard in some jars before it goes to burning. Then we'll come back to that. And also, y'all, if you missed Andy's Facebook post, the red and white pig ended up winning the competition. By actually quite a bit. So y'all, that after it got older, it kind of turned to chocolate and white color. It was the one that Andy was guessing was the biggest, and it in fact was. That hog was all but 600 pounds. Now that's pretty good. And if you've followed us since we've had them, you know that we've had them since, what was it, March or April? I think it was March. And you've seen us raise them from start to finish. Our hogs have free choice feed. They've got a nice shelter. They've got plenty of room to roam. And they get all kinds of goodies. And when they're young, it usually falls pretty good when I'm getting a lot of extra milk. And now you talking about growing a hog. That cow's milk, it'll grow one. And so they all got a real good start on cow's milk. And we make our own feed, so they've got good quality feed. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But it's just like anything else. You take care of it the best you can. And I think that makes a huge difference. Almost 600 pounds. Can y'all believe that? I'm going to say this year, probably some of the best pigs we've grown in a long time. And I just wonder if it don't have something to do with us only having 4 instead of 6. Maybe it wasn't as much competition for the food. Even though they do have free choice, there's always a boss and there's always a pushy one that wants to push the others out the way. And if you're wondering where we get our pigs from, Rocky Ridge Heritage Hogs. You see it all the time on our shirts. Those are our good friends down in Thomasville, North Carolina. They raise good quality pigs. And they're very passionate about what they do. And are very good at what they do. Now I'm putting some of this in some pints and jelly jars for Christmas. This is usually part of certain folks' Christmas that I give out, so I like to do it this way. I get a ton of questions about lard when I go to making it every year. So lard is shelf stable. It is shelf stable. It does not have to be frozen, and it doesn't have to be refrigerated. It is completely shelf stable, whether it's canned or not. It is a pure fat. So, yes, butter can also sit out on the counter, but it can go rancid pretty quickly. Butter, usually no matter what, has a trace of milk in it. But this right here, this is pure, literally pure fat. And it can sit out at room temperature I don't ever put mine in the refrigerator, never have. As long as it's strained really well, which is what this is my strainer. As long as it's strained extremely well and you get them little crackling crumbs and stuff out of it, it'll keep for a very, very long time. We're getting real close to Christmas. Hope y'all are all ready for Christmas. I don't know how ready I am. Ready as I'm going to be, I guess. Ready as I'm going to be. Just in my older years, and with losing loved ones through the years, you really come to appreciate the time you get with family. The family time, the togetherness, the happiness, the joy that comes with Christmas. Man, that's better than any gift anybody could ever give me. It's just being with the family. Well, I ended up with 4 quarts, 3 pints, and 2 jelly jars of lard. So back to my shoulder meat here. Just gonna keep working my way through here. Ain't no rhyme or reason to it. You just do it. I didn't mean to rhyme that, but I did. And now I know a lot of people, especially maybe some younger folks, maybe new to living like this, may watch some of our videos and possibly feel a little intimidated. What we are about here, and you hear us say it all the time, real life. I just want y'all to realize real life is what everything is. You know, there's no, I ain't out here in some kind of fancy dress milking my perfect cow in my perfect pasture with my perfect hair and makeup. Okay? And sometimes I think that can be intimidating to somebody that's new to this life. But y'all, it ain't about perfection. None of this is about perfection. My house is not, would never be featured in, Home and Garden magazine. Okay? I didn't get that gene. But I will tell you, my family's fed, my family's happy, I'm fed and I'm happy, and well, that means a whole lot right there. Sometimes I think we get too focused on something being perfect, just like this chunk of meat right here. I'm sure there is a perfect way to cut this up. But guess what? It's going to can just the same. Me just gnawing away at it here. I remember back when me and Andy first got married and I very first started canning, not even meat. First thing I ever canned was strawberry jelly and green beans. I was so intimidated. And felt like, how in the world could I do any more than what these 2 things that I'm doing? With the little garden we had back then and everything, it was just very intimidating. But you press on, you get good at one thing before you move to the next. And you know what? Before you know it, it'll just be second nature. Just like making lard, canning meat. I could do this stuff now, y'all, with my eyes closed. I have found my rhythm, per se, and just kind of fall into it here. But it's all right to not be perfect, because I got a little secret for you. Even though it looks perfect on the internet, it ain't. Ain't nobody perfect. And me and Andy Definitely ain't perfect. And don't ever claim to be. We're just us.
I think they bought the biggest concrete truck the place had to get into the tightest hole.
Finally got that done. Got all that cut up, and I actually had just a little bit left on the bone, so I seasoned it up and stuck it in the oven in a covered pan, and I'm gonna let it cook low and slow for a couple of hours, and we'll just have some type of pork, whatever I decide to turn that into for supper tonight. So our next step with canning our meat, and this is, you'll find this in every canning book and all the things, is a teaspoon of salt per quart of meat. Now, the salt, you can omit the salt if you want to. That is not a must. But I do like to put salt in them. I've already got my water in my pressure canner. So make sure you're following your pressure canner's directions as to how much water you should put in it. When you're canning meat, to be safe, you must have a pressure canner. I'm gonna wipe my rims. This is not something I always do if I don't get something on the rims, but I was a little messy in this process and definitely got some stuff on the rims here, so better wipe it off. And the reason being, I mean, you run the risk of your lid not sealing if it ain't perfectly clean here on your rim. And after all that hard work, you of course want to do what you need to do for that jar to seal, because it does hurt your feelings a little bit when they don't. Get my lids in place here. Now where I'm pressure canning, I don't crank down on these lids and rings here. It can cause your lid to buckle. I do get them kind of tight, but I'm not going to, with all my might, twist that thing. Cold jars go into a cold pressure canner. If this meat was hot, we would want it going into a hot pressure canner. But everything, you want everything to be the same temperature when you're working with glass. That's the big thing. You can cause your glass to bust. Alright, there is that. I always like to double check myself on my times. I have a lot of folks ask what canning book I use. Now this is an old version of this book. I think there's a newer one. Let me look and see what version. Yeah, this was written in 2014. Is well used, but this is my guide. Well, you can tell. I don't know if the camera picks up just how weathered this pole book is, but anyways, I've got my use out of it, and this is what I always go by, because these are all tested recipes. So I'm going to look up stew meat, is probably what I'd call this right here. Or pork tenderloin. Same difference. We did the raw pack method. We need 1.5 hours for quarts. Again, I think there is a new version of this. Heck, there may have been 2 or 3 new versions since I bought this book. I'm going to get my lid in place here. I'm going to put this on high heat. When I start seeing steam come out of this for a few minutes out of this top, then we'll be ready for my weight. And when that weight starts rocking, that's when we start our time. So, here we go. My bacon is actually done. I'm letting it cool off out there in the smoker, so we'll go out there and get that soon. And I've got quite a bit of meat that I need to get vacuum sealed. And let's check on our barbecue. It's looking good. Still got a ways to go, but that's looking really good.
Well, there they are. Footers, pillars, whatever you want to call them, it's poured. I just took the tractor and the box blade and smoothed up all the roughness because tomorrow morning it's supposed to be getting gravel delivered inside of here. And what's going to happen is that post is going to sit down right on top of that. They'll have a bracket that attaches the post to the concrete, and then the post will be up and the rafters up on top of the post. I asked him before he left, and he said originally they told me 1 day to build the barn. 1 day once the footers were poured, one day to build it. But he said where I'm so close that they may end up making 2 days out of it because it'll just be easier. They won't have to rush so much. So it may take them 2 days to finish, or they may get it done in 1 day. He said it just depends on how things go. But these will have to sit up for about 4 or 5 days at least before they ever come back to set the post on them. Yeah, like I said, supposed to be getting gravel in here tomorrow morning. I'm hoping one tandem axle dump truck will do it, but I don't know. I'm not so much worried about the gravel underneath the building. I just want it out there where it's going to be going in and out of the building. But I figure it'll be nice to have a little thin layer anyways of gravel under the shelter. They even had a little concrete left over and poured it out on the road down here. Now, it's not very thick at all. They watered it down real big so it just washed down. And I told them if it ever ended up busting up and making a mess and giving me problems, I'd just shove it out of the way somewhere. But that made a real nice, convenient place for them to dump what was left in the truck so they could wash out the truck. And I've always had a problem with the road washing right there. So maybe that'll fix that problem. We'll see. Who knows? That hog meat's rough on a knife.
Yeah. Have you noticed the marbling that was in the pig?
I haven't. I see it now.
See?
Pretty, ain't it?
I noticed this earlier when I was cutting up that shoulder. Can y'all see the marbling that's in that pin rolling? Andy's a whole lot better slicer than I am, so I let him do this part.
It would help if my knife was a little sharper. I hit it a lick, but I still don't think I done much good. Them some pretty pieces though. Thank you.
The shoulder had some really pretty marbling in it. Really pretty.
Did it?
Looked like beef. It was marbled up so pretty.
I got a little thick on that one.
to show you real quick how I make my baked apples. I love fried apples on the stovetop too, but a lot of times when it's busy like it is, or has been today, and I've been cooking all day, y'all, I'm looking for stuff that the oven will cook for me. And these apples will go good with that piece of pork. So I'm just going to butter my last dish real good. These Yellow Delicious apples have pretty thin peels, so I'm just going to leave the peels on them. Some of the apples, you know, got thick peelings. A lot of times I'll take those off, but these peelings ain't terrible, so I'm going to fill up my baking dish with my washed apples. These Golden Delicious apples I actually got from a local orchard that we're cleaning out their stock for the season. They got a real good deal on some apples. Kids have been going to town on them. The only bad thing about these Yellow Delicious, or the Golden Delicious, is they don't keep like your red apples. They won't keep as long, but we're working our way through them and enjoying them while they're here. This is so simple, but it's delicious. And also, the sweeter the apple, the better it makes this too. But alright. There's our dish of apples. We'll do about 3 or 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. I just kind of sprinkle it over the top. A few little pats of butter across the top here. And I'm going to put enough water in the bottom just to cover the bottom of my pan. Now you can also use apple juice, but I'm using water. Just a little. A good sprinkle of cinnamon. Some salt. That'll really bring out the flavor in our apples. I'm going to cover my apples. I'm going to let them cook covered for 25 minutes. Then I'll uncover them for about 10 and they'll be done. That's easy as that. How long do you think it'll be before the actual building comes?
He said that, hold on. He said that they might try to do it Saturday so they could get it before Christmas.
Really?
Yeah. I told him, I said, now look, I said, if it's going to put you in the bind, I said, don't worry about getting it before Christmas. But he said he might try. He didn't know. He said the concrete ought to be set up enough, I think.
Well, the weather's perfect for concrete now.
Yeah, we're in good shape now. It wasn't just a few days ago, though. Too cold. But now, most likely, next week being Christmas week, he said they're probably taking off the whole week. So, if they don't get it, like, soon, it'll be after Christmas. And I mean, I told him that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I understand 100%.
Hey, we've been this long without one. We can wait another week. there's that. Alright, so you want me to cut this in half and bake and seal it?
Yeah, we'll do that at like chunks.
But you just want 2 chunks?
Perfect.
Alright, well then make me a bag and I'll get those.
I guess I can take it.
Meat's so pretty after it's vacuum packed.
So, ever how much barbecue that makes? That'll probably make us 7 or 8 packs of barbecue.
Yeah.
So, let me think. Today, in this video, I put up over 20 meals.
Really? 20 meals. That makes it sound like a lot when you think of it like that, don't it?
Yep. Well, I say meals, entrees.
Entrees.
Yeah.
But still, that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Not too bad for a day's work. I know that probably sounds like a lot. Over 20 to a lot of people probably sounds like a lot, especially since we've got chickens and beef and everything else up. But we try to eat at home as much as we can. And when you're eating breakfast, lunch, and supper at home,
You go through it, don't you?
it adds up quick, fast, and in a hurry.
These should be cooled off enough by now that we can get them out. Oh yeah, they've cooled off a lot. Look at that. That's gonna be some mighty fine eating right there. I absolutely love our bacon. Like, this is like eating candy. So since it's cool outside, well, cold outside, I'm gonna put this in our building on top of the freezer and just let it get down, like get cool. And then I'll put it in the refrigerator. We'll let it chill out in the refrigerator for a day or 2, and then we'll go slice it. I just want y'all to look at that. That is beautiful. I wish y'all could smell it. That smells so good. Golly. I can't wait to slice some and eat it.
My canned meat is done and been cooling for a while. We're gonna see what this looks like. Looks plumb good.
Smells good.
Yeah, it does. I love canned meat.
No matter what kind of meat.
Nope. Alright. We can get up close to that.
Looks good. Look at those bowls.
And a lot of them have already, actually, all of them may have already sealed. I believe they have. So, that's always good. And I'm going to check on my barbecue over here. I think we should be getting close to being done. It's been going now for 9 hours, something like that. So, let's check this.
That looks good too.
Yeah, it looks really good. So the way that I check my barbecue, which is what this is going to be, or the pulled pork.
Pulled pork. I
Yeah.
think that's the technical name.
Yeah, so we're going to do just that. We're going to see how easily it pulls. See that? That took like no effort. So I did this part a while ago. Let's come over here. See how easily that's pulling with no effort? I just pulled that right out. So, to me, that is good and done. So the next step for this needs to cool down. And I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. And with the juices and all. Once everything is cooled off, it'll probably be tomorrow, I'll start chopping it and making my chopped barbecue and get it in vacuum seal bags and everything. So at this point, I could work with it when it's hot, but it is impossible to vacuum seal it, and it's no fun working with hot meat. And it's 8 o'clock at night, and I'll be honest with you, I'm about porked out. So so this can just wait for the next day or two, and then I'll go from there. But when I do make my pulled pork, I do it more like chopped barbecue. I do make sure I mix some of those juices in with it. We've found that makes a huge difference. And of course, if you try to mix hot juices in with it, the vacuum sealer is just going to suck them right back out. So once everything is cooled and kind of congealed, that's when everything works like it's supposed to. So I'm going to cut this off, let that cool, and I think we are going to call it a day, ain't we, dear?
It's time to.
Yes, it is. Like I said earlier, made 20-some meals today and got our footers dug and poured for our building.
Progress.
So exciting. It is. It is so, so exciting. And more exciting things hopefully to come in 2026.
Hopefully so.
Yes. But anyways, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. Always remember, and I don't think we say it enough, we appreciate each and every one of you that watch our videos. We hope something in every single video makes you smile today. Till we see y'all on the next one.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.